right, Mark. I see you did a little costume change. You must know what's up.
Costume change? This is the start of the video. How do we know what costume changes I'm making?
This
could be posted in a month.
We are talking Wolverhampton Wanderers versus Crystal Palace. You guys are back out of London.
Oh, we're home.
You got out of London. You're back at the
finally
Molineux, but you're facing another London club. And let me just kick this off, and then I'm going to give it over to you, and I'll give you my thoughts on this. Crystal Palace and Wolves, to me, are two mid-table teams with upward trajectories. We were speaking of Leicester earlier today, kind of with a downward trajectory. Wolves and Palace have to be looking at their near future. I'm talking the next 2 years, going, we are European clubs. Because Patrick Vieira is doing some amazing work over at Crystal Palace. Even though, they've had their ups and downs, they've looked amazing, they've looked terrible. It's these growing pains of a new manager. But you look at what he's doing with the younger players, the midfielders. Patrick Vieira bossed the midfield when he was a player for, I don't know, some really amazing team. But he's helping Conor Gallagher become an amazing fucking player that they're going to lose back to Chelsea.
Yeah.
He's finding ways to make this team cohesive, to make them less Zaha dependent. So if Zaha has a bad run of matches, they're not losing all those. He's shoring up the defense a little bit. They're not getting steamrolled by teams. And that being said, Wolves are doing the same thing. They're finding some stability. It's not lose 5-0, win 2-0, lose this, win this, lose this, win this. It's all 1-0, 2-0, or 2-1, low scores. And you guys are figuring out the scoring aspect of it, the goal scoring. You've got to be looking at this of like, fuck, man, with the right moves in the summer, both of these clubs become European contenders, where you're going to see clubs like Tottenham, clubs even Arsenal, Manchester United, West Ham, these clubs that have been up here in this heated 3 to 8 spots. Leicester City, all of a sudden not shoe-ins to be in that battle all season, because I tell you what, both Crystal Palace and Wolves have put on some shows. If you look at so we're not looking at their singles, if they're musicians, we're looking at their whole catalog this season. And there's been some really good work put into these teams, and it's showing. Yes, you go on runs of losing a couple games. Yes, there's some heartbreakers where you're like, fuck, we should have won that. Crystal Palace is right there with you. And Arsenal did it to them as well. So, I hate to say that. But you hear what I'm saying? Do you agree with that?
Absolutely.
The upward trajectory of these
I do. I mean, I did not expect Patrick Vieira to do well with his first team in the Premier League. This is his first time managing in the Premier League.
In the Premier League, yes.
I didn't expect much from him, and I was just like, who knows what's going to happen. We could see a wholesale winter fire sale of the team, but he's been doing well, and so yes, definitely the upward trajectory. Putting all these pieces together that in the past didn't necessarily fit all that cohesively. Same thing for the Wolves. There are players that start, and that is their spot from day one for Wolves that couldn't get a sniff with Nuno. And that's something that always frustrated me. I'm talking about Max Kilman. Max Kilman was the understudy to Willy Bolly, and it made no sense to me. I know Willy Bolly. He's 6-something. He's really good on the set pieces. He can get his head.
Footwork of Kilman to me.
But just Kilman's no shorty.
No, he's a big guy.
Kelman's like 6'2", 6'3".
With a name like Killman,
you
can't be a shorty.
And he can bring the ball upfield. He's got good size. He's got good
Wasn't
speed.
he a futsal?
He was a futsal, and I that's like boot.
It's footwork. It's all footwork.
It's like the equivalent of boot hockey to football.
Oh,
so
I don't know what that is.
futsal, hockey, boot hockey. So boot hockey, no skates. In a smaller rink.
Maybe. This is more like a deflated ball
Yeah,
that they
this
can
is
do all
instead
these
of a
crazy
puck,
tricks
it's a
with.
ball, I
Yeah.
think, in boot hockey as well. Anyway, so
But it's crazy for your defender to be a futsal guy.
teams, there's players on Wolves that never got a chance that are getting a chance and more of a longer look and getting into form in that position, and so things look really good. Both teams. This is going to could potentially be a slugfest, or it could be a non-scoring match that is just like end to end, because these two teams have the capability of doing it. Now, for Wolves right now, unfortunately, we lose Semedo to a thigh injury, hamstring injury. We're not going to get him back until April. That kind of takes some of our speed away, because I don't think Johnny, after 2 knee surgeries, is going to be up to snuff.
No.
Kayana Hoover,
though, right?
Aitnori's back. He'll start. Hoover, I never want to see him on the pitch again. He just not. I cannot wait until we get Morgan Gibbs-White back from loan, so that we can.
This is what I'm talking about next season. When you're able to not, because your starting lineup is actually good. It's the lineup that you guys put up against Arsenal was like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
And as you said, when Semedo went down, the game changed.
Yeah.
But it's about finding those backups. Mm-hmm. Those backups where if Aitnori, if Semedo go down, you have these guys who maybe aren't as good, but they're right there with them. They're right there with them.
They can hold. They can
Think
hold
about
the
like
ship
for
down.
us, if Tierney goes down, we have Tavage.
Right, exactly. There's always, it's nice to say or to see. I think I talked about this during about the Arsenal match, or the pre-match, the warm-up to it. You have the situation now where in the past with Nuno and last season, it would get to this whole like, oh fuck, Neto went down and we're replacing him with Owen.
Somebody I've never fucking heard of.
And that's just kind of a letdown, because you're like, oh, that's not an upgrade. And no, it doesn't necessarily work out, but to know that a Semedo can be replaced by Johnny, Marcel, there's players that you're like, we're going to be okay. Where last year losing Jimenez, I was like,
You're fucked.
That's it.
Yeah.
I felt like a Mets fan after the first series of the season.
So let's get to it. Let's get to our score predictions. You want me to go first?
You go right ahead.
Okay. So I don't see this being a slugfest. There is a chance that you guys both come out going, we need this, because I feel like both of these clubs really need a win, and they need a win against a solid club, and that's what this would be. Not a top club, but a solid club. A club that's hard to beat.
Yeah.
So that will create opportunities over the top. So it depends if you guys come out with your top 3 like you did against Arsenal with Wang,
Jimenez and
Podence. If you do that pulls Zaha back a little bit. It makes the it opens the pitch up a little bit, because they have to respect that.
Right.
If you don't, if you only play with the one guy up top and you're a little bit more Dendonker in the middle, not that he's bad, I'm just saying it's more like, okay, we don't want to give up a goal instead of going to get a goal, then I don't see you finding that goal. So I think in the end, and this is no surprise because I think this is the overall opinion of this match, is a 1-1 draw. I think you both score a goal, and for a while you're both going for it, but as the minutes start winding down, you both desperately do not want to give up the point.
I really am trying to get a finger on the pulse of this match. I watched some Newcastle games. I don't know how what their form is currently.
Crystal Palace.
Crystal Palace.
This.
I don't know. That's how much I've been watching them in the last few weeks. But I do know that the Wolves. I do know the Wolves. The Wolves.
Wonder why we don't have any Wolves fans on
know,
the show.
I tell you, I don't care. It's still right there.
We got the only one that matters.
That's right. They're desperate for a win.
Yeah.
If they're gonna live up to all the hype that has been thrown out there by the media and by all the sports pundits saying, you can't sleep on the Wolves. Well, right now they're not in that great of form. They've lost 3 of 5. And they need this. And I think they played so poorly against Crystal Palace last time. They lost 2-0. I think they're at home. This is payback time. They're gonna.
What's the score?
Fuck it. Saw keeps a clean sheet. 2-0.
Ooh.
And for you English side bettors, Zaha with a red card.
Ooh, yeah, I can see that.
He's gonna get frustrated as fuck,
yeah.
and he's gonna knock Kilman on his ass because Kilman's gonna. If Kilman plays on the same side, and I'm not really sure, I want to say he plays opposite side, but sometimes Zaha switches. He's gonna get real frustrated with Kilman.
But if Hoover is over there on the left side,
He'll get burnt.
He's gonna get burned.
We're gonna call Hoover the crouton, a small burnt piece of toast.
Ooh. Listen, should I bring Raul Jimenez into my fantasy team? You got a double game week, and then you've got easy fixtures after that. No?
No.
All right, you heard it here.
I really. Man, he plays well. He does a lot of really great things. Scoring is not one of them this season. He's just not finding that, and just where he ends up to score, I think Guida can get him. I think as far as where the goals are going to come from, they're going to come from just outside the box, like Neves style, Moutinho style, a Neto style. Podence gets a little closer because his footwork is just stupid. But yeah.
All right, guys. So what do you guys think? Put it in the comments below. Do you think it's going to be a 1-1 draw, like I said, or 2-0 to the Wolves with a red card? Put some money on that one. Maybe I'll do it.
You can't bet on red cards.
Oh,
that's only for you British people.
Oh, damn.
Or European people. Peace.
Well, that's it for today's show. Don't forget to check out the YouTube channel where we have all the different episodes that are coming out all week long, covering all sorts of Premier League topics.
And if you enjoy what we're doing, don't forget to share, like, subscribe, the Holy Trinity that we ask each and every one of you to do.
And go to onthestupidlolo.com. You can check out what we're up to, and you can join in the discussion groups, talk football all week long, and buy some cool merchandise.
And if you want to be a part of the Stoop crew, you can join us Friday nights, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern time here in the States.
Midnight in the
sometime
UK.
Across the pond. Sometime for our friends out on the West Coast. And join us for happy hour. We have a lot of fun talking about just about anything, and we have wonderful trivia questions at the end.
Banter and trivia, Friday nights live. Join us in the comments. All right, peace from Brooklyn, y'all.